Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Olaoye, like you've been told, and the prince himself has said a number of things about me. I'm a marketing professional, and I am on the faculty of the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria. I'm also on the faculty of Rome Business School, where I teach international marketing and global marketplace. I teach MBA and I teach MSc Marketing Communications. This evening, we're going to be talking about how to manage inflation and stay profitable. That's the topic I got, how to manage inflation and stay profitable. I've been seeing that the network is a bit funny. So if there's anything that, if you didn't hear me at any point in time, please just write it. I'll check the chat box. And then Prince, you can call me to order, or Temitope can call me to order, or tell me that the network has gone. But if you can hear me, that's the topic that I'm going to be talking about. It's not something that we're going to make academic. I will even prefer a situation whereby we can have a kind of conversation where people can put, comments on chat boxes, where people can raise their hands up, and then the Prince and Temitope will unmute you so we can have your comments. But by way of introduction, basically, the fact of the matter is that inflation is a reality, and a stark one at that is staring all of us in the face. It's a reality and a stark one at that is staring all of us in the face. All right? And it's a reality that the world has to grapple with because of what I call 3 C's. 3 C's. Number 1 C is conflicts. Conflicts. All over the world now, there is one conflict or the other in various parts of the world. Okay? All of us are familiar with the conflict, the geopolitical tension in Europe, the invasion of Ukraine, which has brought a lot of trouble to the world. Before now, the media did not tell us, international media did not tell us that between Ukraine and Russia, they account for 29–30% of global production of wheat. And wheat is an important commodity, in terms of food. I work in the flour milling industry, so I know we use wheat for flour. Flour we use to bake bread, pastries. Flour we use for biscuits. We use flour for semolina, for those of you who may like semolina, spaghetti, and so on and so forth. Okay, so for some time, more than 20 million tons of wheat were locked up in Mariupol seaport. And because of that, the price of wheat went up. Also, Russia is about the 3rd largest producer of oil and gas. The gas from Russia is important to Europe. So when they locked the taps, Europe couldn't get gas and prices went up. Okay, so because of those conflicts, inflation in 2022 became something serious. And I'm sure all of us are aware of this. Now, for us in Nigeria, conflicts in the northeastern part of Nigeria, many of you would have heard about Boko Haram. Boko Haram prevented people and still prevents them from going to the farms. If they have to go to the farm, they have to get protection from the security forces. Okay? So, and usually what makes inflation happen most of the time, maybe not all the time, is when supply goes down and demand is either remaining constant or demand is going higher, or when you have a lot of money chasing too few goods. This usually precipitates inflation. Okay, so conflict is a major factor that has brought about inflation. The second thing is climate. All of us are aware that climate change is the buzzword. One information we have is that in the northeastern part of Nigeria, where we have Lake Chad has shrunk to about half or less of its original size, maybe in about 20, 30 years. Okay, and this is one reason why pastoralists, those we call Fulani herdsmen, why they are coming southward. Okay, and as they are coming southward, tensions are being generated between them and farmers. Okay, so when you have this kind of situation, people cannot really farm, they can't do what they have to do. Even it spills into cities where small and medium scale enterprises are affected. Okay, and it's the same thing all over the world. I am aware that in China, there is a drought in China, which is affecting their hydroelectric power stations. And as a result, I think they are experiencing power cuts in some parts of China. I can go on and on. The case of Europe is something that we know. There are wildfires in Europe. You know, there have been wildfires in some parts of the United States as well. And I think that the heat that they've seen in Europe this year, in France and in the UK, I'm not sure they've seen it in more than 30 years. Okay, so climate is also a factor. And then thirdly, COVID. Okay, when COVID happened, supply chain, system, the global supply chain system was disrupted. Now, what usually happens is that when you halt supply chain system of the world, before you're able to get back to the normal level, it could take you like 3 months. All right. The whole of 2020, COVID was the issue. The pandemic held everybody down. So the world was just recovering from the impact of COVID in 2019 before Russia struck Ukraine on February 24th. And when they did that, it took prices up because of the cost of energy that went up, the cost of calories that went up, and so on and so forth. But in spite of all this, I hope we are aware that some of the big corporates in the world, they have made massive profits during this period of inflation. Some of the big corporates in the world, they've made massive profits. There's a company called Aramco of Saudi Arabia. That's their own oil, giant. It made a lot of money. Same thing for Shell, BP, and some other companies, big giants in the world. This is 1 year they have made a lot of profit, and even the Western world is thinking about, getting to ask for more taxes from them. It was so bad that the UN Secretary General said that companies should think more about welfare than profit. But if you ask me, those are the things that come with capitalism. Okay, so businesses that are agile often act swiftly to respond and reposition themselves with a view to turning inflationary disruption into value, thereby becoming winners. Okay, what is important when there is inflation is that you ensure that your business is agile, you ensure that your business responds swiftly, to disruptions that come with inflation. All right. So having said that, what then is inflation? What is inflation? We're just trying to establish what I call theoretical foundation or conceptual clarification. Inflation is a general increase in the price of goods and services in an economy. When the general price level rises, each unit of currency buys fewer goods and services. Consistently, inflation corresponds to a reduction in the purchasing power of money. This is Wikipedia definition. Now, let me make this illustration. For us in Nigeria, my wife is in the building industry. I know a particular project she started, And then a ton of iron rod was about 120, 150,000. That was March of last year, March 2021. And by July of 2022, the same measure of iron rod was going for about 400,000, 450,000. You can measure that within a space of, if I understand very well, maybe 14 months. It's gone from about 150,000 to about 450,000 naira. Okay, so what that does is that it has reduced the purchasing power of whoever our principal was, okay, and still is. So the common measure of inflation is the inflation rate. The analyzed percentage change in a general price index, as prices do not all increase at the same rate. The consumer price index, CPI, is often used for this purpose. Now, before I even talk about what they use in the United States, generally, you measure inflation year on year. Okay, you can look at month on month. I know I follow the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, and I know that they do stuff month on month, and we will see some of the data as we go on. Okay, according to IMF World Economic Outlook report released in July 2022, global inflation has been revised up due to food and energy prices, as well as lingering supply-demand imbalances, and is anticipated to reach 6.6% in advanced economies and 9.5% in emerging markets and developing economies this year. This year, 2022. Upward revision of 0.9 and 0.8 percentage points, respectively. In 2023, disinflationary monetary policy is expected to bite, with global output growing but just 2.9%. Now, we've seen what it is. Inflation, IMF has revised the inflation rate upward, okay? But what I think might be the light at the end of the tunnel is that it is expected that by 2023, disinflationary monetary policy, of course, it could bite, but there will be growth, and it is expected that the level will go down from what it is this year. Okay, so you probably just want to check out this. You probably want to check out this forecast, and you want to see what it looks like here. If you look at what I'm looking at, you'll see that 2022 is what is colored blue, and it has figures. Now, for the world, in the case of the world, it is expected that in 2022, by July, inflation will be like 7.9. Developing economies, it is expected to be 9.5. Advanced economies, 6.0. USA, 7.5. China, 2.7. Eurozone, 6.3. I understand there's somebody from the US on this call. I don't know if the person has been following. When was the last time inflation crossed 5% in the United States? I don't think, probably in year 2008, when there was global meltdown occasioned by the subprime mortgage lending issue, all right? But for a very long time, inflation in the West, USA and Western Europe, has been, yes, single digits, but very, very minimal. Unlike probably what we know in Africa, and especially in my own country, Nigeria, it's been on double digit for, if I remember, for about 4 or 5 years, at least if I can remember. Okay, and you can see the one for Nigeria comparing from January 21 to June 22. Now, January 21, we had 16.5%. By June 2022, we had about 18.1 or thereabout percent. But I can tell you that in July, and I have this on the authority of both NBS and NBS is our own National Bureau of Statistics, and the CBN. I have a CBN report. That NBS report says that in May 2022, inflation in Nigeria was 17.71%. Okay. And then the CBN report says that July 2022 rate, that it was about 19.64. I actually watched our own Minister of Finance. She was being interviewed or questioned at our own National Assembly, our legislative arm of government. And she quoted 17.71% or thereabout. She quoted 17%. But fact of the matter is that July rate from CBN is 19.64%. Now, in Ghana, I think I should just look at Ghana. What amazes me is that inflation has gone from 13.9% in January 2022 to 31.7%. Ghanaians can probably confirm this or refute it, but if this is the way it has gone, I imagine it is as a result of energy crisis in the world, okay? Because now, the price of crude oil, I think, is about $103 per barrel or so. A year ago, it was not like that. It was not anywhere near that at all. Maybe it was hovering at best. At best, it was probably $70 or $80. Okay, but because of the crisis in Ukraine and Russia, it has gone up. So, what are we trying to establish by all these statistics, by all these charts, all these graphs, all this data? What are we trying to establish? All we're just trying to establish is that, especially in year 2022, the inflationary trend, we just will not want to call it stagflation, especially with what we have seen in Nigeria and Ghana mainly. But all over the world, prices of goods and services have gone up. So what is the impact of all this on businesses? Like I said, some big corporates, they made a lot of money and they became profitable. But for small and medium scale enterprises, some they are struggling, others are able to at least swim and raise their head above the murky waters. Okay, now I'll be putting, may God help us. Yeah, somebody splashed 2020. Yes, so Ghana were there, business has ceased to grow. Yeah, may God help us. When you are dealing with the level of inflation, the surge in inflation in the last about 7 months or thereabout, it can be terrible. Okay, so we may not say that we have a magic wand, but let me share some of the methods that we share with our own customers. I work in the B2B sector or arm of the business. And yes, the B2B, we cater, we sell to major distributors, and major distributors sell to master bakers, they sell to caterers, they sell to, those who are engaged in confectionery, they sell to all these people who are into cake, baking. And it's becoming something big in Nigeria now, okay? We have what we call cake angels. It's our corporate social responsibility. We train ladies to be able to bake cake, using the best methods. But basically, the tips we share with them, there are some of the tips I'm going to share with you. And wherever you have an opinion, please write it or raise up your hand and all that, and then I'll recognize you. One thing we usually tell our people, okay, let me go to, we usually tell our master bakers, who are the people engaged in production, okay? We usually tell them that, guys, when the going gets tough, the tough has to get going. You need to be sure that you have people who can help you with accounting. Because one of the challenges I have noticed is that in most small and small and medium scale enterprises, accounting is not really taken seriously. It's an issue. Anybody can correct me if I am wrong. And I can tell you that the little I know, in most small and business, small and medium business enterprises usually have those I can call qualified accountants. It may appear as if it is expensive, but you will likely get the reward. Because as things are now, you need to focus on the finance function. That is the first thing I'm going to talk about. You need to focus on the finance function. The finance person has to become the internal consultant so that he is able to analyze the cost and is able to match cost with the price you are charging. All right. If he's able to match cost with the price you are charging, then you can begin to understand whether you are even making profit in the first place. Simple equation of profit is simple, that pi is where revenue is greater than cost, at least total cost. Total revenue is greater than total cost. Every other thing will come into it. Right? You are talking about all the averages and you are looking at your, your break-even point. Okay, which is where your marginal revenue equals your marginal cost. All those are, things that your finance person can check and ensure that is matching cost with the price you are charging. The master bakers we deal with in Nigeria here, in fact, some of them are even emotional about increasing price. We have different parts of Nigeria and Nigerians are very religious. I have heard the master baker say that during Ramadan, that is when Muslims fast, right? That you are not supposed to increase prices. But what if price of your inputs, your major inputs or prices of inputs go up? Are you still not supposed to increase price? You should increase price. Okay, so apart from the issue of your finance person helping you to match, cost with the price you are charging, your finance person will also be able to help you with cash management. And it will be able to help you with what I call financial management strategies. Okay? So you have visibility. And I suggest that if you are doing this on a weekly basis, there has to be a meeting between the CEO, the finance person, and a few key people, right? And okay, I can remember that when I was working in Tiger Brands of South Africa, what usually happened was that all the heads of departments, we sent our weekly reports. So the controller collated everything and he would make a kind of dashboard. So it was easy for the CEO to see, how well we were doing. And that was on a weekly basis. That didn't be monthly performance review meetings. I think these are things that those of you who have businesses ought to do. Okay, you may not have we call them chartered accountants in Nigeria. You may not be able to pay for a chartered accountant. And if you're able to pay for a chartered accountant, please go for a chartered accountant. Otherwise, employ somebody who has a finance background, who probably also has experience. If you are not able to employ on a full time, get them as consultants. I don't know whether Ozi can help you do that, but get them as consultants. It is very, very important. Now, the second thing I've written is that you should cut wasteful spending. When you talk to the finance person and you're able to look at the various aspects of your business, you will see areas where you are having wasteful spending. There is no need to be emotional about it. Just cut the wasteful spending. It's that simple. Okay? Now, another thing I want you to look at is I want you to be more in your operations. Be more efficient in your operations. That should start with you asking, your staff, you do a staff audit first. What is each of your staff doing and what are they bringing to the table? Okay. Once you are sure of what each staff is doing, you are sure that the job function delivers the desired value to the business. The next step is to determine those who are not delivering value, and then you allow them to go. It's that simple. Now, one other thing I will tell you about becoming more efficient in your operations. I'll use the example of a bakery. In the baking business that we see our bakers engaging in Nigeria, a rotary, an electric mixer is of the essence. You know why it's of the essence? Is that it will help you increase the level of water you can add to the flour. And when the more water you add, you can make. Those who are still using, oftentimes they take about 20% off. I.e., somebody who uses an electric mixer, and a good one at that, can do 20%, 30% above what the person who is doing manual will do. And can I tell you something? When some of the master bakers that I've talked to who have this emotional attachment to the manual method, it's not as if they don't have the money to buy. It's not as if they cannot invest, all right? You should be able to ensure that your operations, they are checked out in such a way that you can determine where efficiency is low and where you can increase efficiency, especially for those of you who are engaged in production of goods, all right? You should be able to determine where efficiency is low and where efficiency is high. Now, we are able to do this for our master bakers because we act as consultants to them. But can I also tell you something? Some of them go all out to get, production people who are experienced and who know the current, trends in the baking industry. If it means hiring them for a fairly high amount of money, so be it. But when we work with them, we ensure that such people deliver value to them. Okay. Now, the other one I'm going to say is that increase price of products and services to beat cost. I have said that earlier, that some of the people I've spoken to who are small and medium scale, guys, they have this emotional attachment because of religion, or because some of them even told me that if we increase the price of bread, who is going to buy it? I've heard that kind of a thing. Now, when they are saying that if they increase the price of bread, who is going to buy it? We've seen companies like ShopRite. ShopRite, I don't know how many people from South Africa, ShopRite. That's in Nigeria for now, that is our equivalent of Walmart. So I think the guy in the US can relate now. That's our equivalent of Walmart in Nigeria. ShopRite, they have bakeries. People go there and queue and buy at a higher price. The only thing you need to be sure of is that when you increase the price of products and services to beat cost, it has to be such that, okay, I have seen this person, I'm in a competitive market that can't increase price to beat cost. How else can one do in this case? You know what I've also seen Nigerian producers in this sector do is that they reduce the size. Okay, there is this industry we call the sausage roll industry in Nigeria. The sausage roll industry in Nigeria. Nigerians who are on this call will know Gala, will know Beefy, will know which other one, Biggie. All these people, I supply them flour. I'm mentioning brands in that sector in Nigeria. The sausage roll, whatever. Now, they have told us severally that there is a particular price beyond which you cannot increase, in their own industry. But what do? They cut down on They cut down the size, but the price will not go up. All right. I don't know whether I've answered your question. I also noticed that with sachet water in Nigeria, they cut down on the volume of the water. The bakers I am also talking about, I've seen instances where they cut down on the dough size. And that is one thing that has caused a running battle, because when you cut down too much on the dough and you cut down some of the ingredients, it may affect the quality of the loaves. Okay, so we are working at every point in time, to help them. All right. I don't know if I have answered your question. You can indicate, but I'm sharing some of the tips that that we use with our own. Those I consider to be in the small and medium scale enterprises as well in Nigeria. Now, you can also lock in orders for long periods to. Oh, yours is a foam industry. Now, in a foam industry, the question I would like to ask is that what materials can you buy in bulk? Exactly, customer complaints. But the fact of the matter is that in some of the small and medium scale enterprises I've seen, they just reduce size or they increase price. Some way, somehow, you have to ensure that you don't go below your own cost, because it will shock you to know that some bakeries have gone down in the last 1 year in Nigeria and other. I think what is important is that you must be bold to ensure that you increase your price, but you don't compromise on quality. I tell you, you don't compromise on quality. Now, I'm going to get to the issue of customer engagement. Industry. Severally, we have increased price. And trust me, it is not a tea party when you increase price. It is not where you share cake and then you drink coffee. It can be very, very tough when you are explaining to customers, Okay. Yeah, in the short run, I'm seeing this from Splash 2020 Enterprise. Let me tell you the experience. And I'm making this delivery from a customer's office. I'm not in my own office. I'm not at the head office. I'm making this delivery from Ibadan in the customer's office.
Can you hear me, Mr. John?
Yeah, hi. I can hear you.
Yeah, great. So we want to do this. If possible, you can go through with the presentation. We'll have a question and answer session so that we can be able to respond to all the questions that are coming.
All right.
Yeah, so please feel free to go ahead with the presentation.
Okay, but let me quickly make this point that started a baking business. It's a major distributor of ours. For Nigerians who are on this call, this guy buys products for 3 billion naira from you on a monthly basis. Okay, he just started his foods business, and baking is number one. Started to bake bread, and we discovered that with the right recipe, the guy is able to increase price. Bakers, other bakers who don't have the type of recipe he has, they are complaining, they are not able to increase price, and then they are losing out. So, must be important. There's something we call unique selling points, unique selling proposition. All right. So ensure that you know your unique selling proposition or points, and then you can be sure that what you are producing, all right, it conforms to what your unique selling point is. Okay, so let me move on. Because I have all this on other slides, but I'm just taking them like this. Now, locking orders for advantage of low prices. For us who are suppliers, we allow customers who want to take advantage, because between February and now, let me give you an idea. Price of flour has gone from about 12,000, 13,000 naira between January and today. Price of flour has gone from about 13,000 naira or 15,000 naira to 30,250. Just work out the arithmetic. Okay. Just increase, and we didn't get to that point at once. We were increasing at times once in 2 weeks, at times at the end of the month, but we allowed some customers who made contractual agreements with us, purchase agreements with us to lock in orders for certain periods of time, and they were able to take advantage of low prices, and it worked for them. Okay, so I may not know what it is in Ghana or in South Africa, but I know this is possible in Nigeria, and we do it. Okay, I understand I have 15 minutes left. So improve visibility for business and products on digital touch points. If you have a business, you are a small, medium-scale enterprise, you are not on the digital side of life, then you have not started. I'll be surprised if you don't have a website. I'll be surprised if you, even the most basic of them all, you have a Facebook page, all right? You have an Instagram, page, because millennials and Gen Zers, right? These are the cohorts who make up, the great majority, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. And they are the generation that were either born into internet or who were born just before internet came on. Okay, and there is no way you can meet them if you are not online. Okay, now, how do you improve visibility? If you have a website, you can just ensure that you improve your website in such a way that when searches are being made, all right, it's easier for your own business or your product to come up. These are simple things that you need to do. You've got to be on the digital side of things. You've got to improve your visibility, on the digital side of things. Then I said that you should improve on customer engagement. Customer engagement. Now, that once in a year, whether it is medium scale enterprises, especially those of you who know your customers, one-on-one, I believe it's not a bad idea if you have what I call a customer forum or a trade meeting, maybe once a year. You will need to explain a whole lot of things. When we engage with customers, we find out that the information we give them goes a long way in helping them, to better manage their businesses. And in this period where you have inflation, believe me, it is something you have to be doing if you've not been doing it. Once a year or twice a year or, a quarterly thing, you need to meet with your customer. And if you have the kind of business where your customer can come online, you can have meeting via Zoom. It can even be hybrid, where you have some that are physically present, others that are, online. Okay, but you must improve on customer engagement. Another thing that relates to customer is that you must be able to analyze your customers. I used to say one thing to my sales team, that Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, the 80-20 rule must be applied in all situations. What do I mean by 80-20 rule? You find out that some 20% of your customers probably buy between 75 and probably 85% of your volume. If you know those customers, you should be paying a lot of attention to them. If you are giving freebies, if you are giving discounts, they should be the ones enjoying discounts. But the reverse is the case. You always like to attract new customers, so we are giving discounts to new customers. I think the 20%, that give you 80% of your volume, when you do your analytics and you find out these customers, you understand what they really buy, when they buy, how they buy. They are the ones that should enjoy the freebies that you are giving, if you are giving freebies at all. Okay. Now, the last point is this: invest cash in other businesses that can generate passive income. When there is inflation, there is a rule: never keep money in the bank, because the money you keep in the bank will turn to paper. I can tell you. So as a business, it is not something of pride to say that you have so amount of money in the bank. Your money must be working for you in one way or the other as a business. Okay, so you must always invest your cash in other businesses that can generate passive income. And everything that I have just shared on this slide, I have different slides for them. So I will be sending this. I think on this note, I want to say thank you for listening to me. If there are more questions, I want to take those.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, hello. I can't hear you. Is it my network?
No, it's mine, sir. Sorry, yeah, sorry about that. My internet just went off, but I'm glad to be back. Thank you once more, Mr. John Olaoye. We really appreciate this quick bits of information and knowledge that you have shared. I know there are tons of questions that are here, and so I'm going to quickly run through them, and then we can keep going.
I'm going to share my slides with Temitope, so Temi can give the slides or send the slides to you guys.
Correct. Thank you so much. So guys, let the questions start coming in. I do have a question here already from, let's see, from Splash 2020. She's saying that unable to increase price because of losing customers to competitors. I think you touched on that as well. But if you have some more to add, please do feel free to expand on that.
Well, I thought I answered it, but two things that I've seen people do, and I mentioned those in the sausage roll industry. The major brands in Nigeria being Gala and Beefy and Biggie. Like I said, those guys buy from me. My interactions with those guys, they had told us severally that you can't increase price. Usually there's a price point for those in Nigeria. So what do? They reduce the sizes. They cut down the sizes. Because when you cut down the sizes, you cut down the inputs that you put. Thereby, you are saving costs. Okay? Well, what I have seen is that you will find some people who have not attended this kind of seminar, who don't know their costs, who don't understand their cost structure. They will sell, stuff as if they are getting raw materials from heaven. I can tell you, it will only disturb you in the short run. It will only disturb you in the short run. Okay? They will not be there forever. My wife is in the building industry, and I can tell you that she has a small, let me just be moderate in what I'm saying. She has this very small builder's mat, but she builds, and she builds. The time somebody came and was bringing cement at about 80% of the market price. I was working in Dangote then, and I was marketing in Dangote. And I knew the price that the thing was coming from our sister company. And for about 6 or 9 months, it was a tug of war. Not just packed up, banks came and locked up the place. Okay, so in the short run, but ensure that two things happen. You must know it with regards to the product, and you ensure that you are meeting your unique selling point. The second thing is that you must continually engage with customers and let them see that you are credible, you are sincere, your quality. And then thirdly, one area we are winning as a company is in our after-sales service. If you give your customers superb after-sales service, it's just natural. So that's the answer I can give to that question.
Thank you very much, Mr. John. So we have a question from Benjamin Ankoma. He's saying, do you see the dollar and the euro rate reducing in the last quarter of the year? This is affecting prices and distribution. This is more of a forex exchange thing, but please go ahead, Mr. John.
Let me tell you, let me start this way, but let me start to answer that question this way. And I'll use the case of Nigeria. In the case of Nigeria, our own is self-inflicted injury. It's self-inflicted injury. You know, foreign exchange correctly is supposed to be used mainly for the importation of, things that will add value to the economy, and probably for people who want to school abroad or for vacation. We got ourselves into a situation whereby dollar has become even a more important domestic currency than the naira. So it's self-inflicted. For as long as politicians don't change their behaviors, in Nigeria, it will not come down. I'm not sure I know the case of Ghana, but I know that for as long as politicians don't change their behaviors, it will not come down. That's number one. Number two, there's a lot of inefficiency in our energy sector. We are not able to export oil at the level even OPEC has given to us. We are not even able to meet OPEC quota. So we are not able to earn enough dollars. So if those factors are still present, one of these things will come down. Okay. I don't know whether it's in Ghana. I see that Nigerians, they are also speculating on the dollar. People buy dollar, they keep, expecting that it will go up. And then when it goes up, they can sell. I know some Nigerians, so big guys who drive solid SUVs for like 4 years, that's what they've been doing. It's a sabotage. For as long as we continue to sabotage our economy, there's going to be a problem. I also know that some Nigerians put money into cryptocurrencies. They put money into Bitcoin and they lost big time. I'll come to that. Now, these are some of the guys that, these are some of the things that are present that are making the cost of dollar to go up. And there's a lot of corruption in that sector. So I really don't see it coming down significantly. So probably pre-2019 level. I don't see it coming down. All right. That's my answer. So while IMF has said that they are taking disinflationary measures for 2023, for us and for those of you who have to import things, raw materials, I don't see any significant reduction. Okay, for us in Nigeria, official rate, they will tell you is 415, but we know that the parallel market rate is the real deal. Parallel market rate, at one time it was 700. It is now about 650 or 6 something. Okay. Best if it is coming down, maybe 500. But the scenarios that are being painted is not likely to come down. Okay.
Thank you.
Nigeria don't have chicken, spice, sausage, if I may ask, because I have clients who want to move down from US to settle in Africa.
Yeah, I don't know how we can respond to that question. I think it is not correctly framed. So Kwesi, if you can spend time to probably retype it again, that would help. I think we have a hand raised by Splash 2020. It's been raised for quite a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, Madam Splash 2020, and ask your question.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Mariam, I'm speaking from Ghana. To touch on the increase of prices, in an industry like mine, it's actually difficult here in Ghana because there are a lot of competitors. There are a lot of people now into such business. And looking at the way nowadays the weather is also very cold, everyone or every company is trying to sell more. And so even there are some, you'll be surprised to hear that with all this inflation stuffs, that business are collapsing, businesses are sinking. There are some companies who are still even reducing their prices. And water is a product that is very difficult to manipulate because it's not like maybe a confectionery product that maybe you say, oh, let me add something to improve on my taste or something, so that customers will see how unique yours is to even purchase from you despite the price or despite you increasing the price. Water is water. And with reducing of the size to, we have been given a standard measurement that 5 mil to produce for customers. And even if you are reducing, how many liters are you taking from? That is going to help you at least like make up with the low price. And right now, what I always tell my employees is that it's like we are just working to sustain the little that we have, but not to get any profit or to expand. So currently, what I'm trying to bring out is to, if not for some financial constraint, quickly bring in another kind of business that will also serve as a way of generating some form of income around. Because it's like with the sachet, everything is sinking, a lot of people, blah, blah. And so it's very difficult. Ever
I don't know
since
whether it's a network.
one painful aspect is that sachet, you always have to put them in trucks and go and supply. Look at the way there's a high increase in fuel, so always you have to go. And at first, when fuel was okay, we're moving always. Now it's not like that. You move anytime you even want to move. You want to wait until a customer calls before you move. Meanwhile, the sachet is in such a way that anytime you are going, you might get lucky for a new customer to call you. But now we are not getting new customers because you are already waiting for an old customer to call before you move. So it's really disturbing. As for me, I'm really thinking, but I know I will not sing because I have Ozeapp by my side. So with the price, for me, right now it's like I don't have anything to do about it. I'm just doing the old thing, because if you increase, your customers will leave you. So it's a problem.
All right, thanks, Splash.
The network, I don't know whether I'm the only one who cannot hear her.
Okay, yeah, so just to recap what she said, I could hear her. It could be your network. So she runs a pure water business.
Is it my network?
Water. Yeah. Oh, can you hear me now? Hello, Mr. John. Okay. Looks like we do have an issue of a network with our guest speaker. But if anybody can hear me, please show by thumbs up for me to confirm that I'm not speaking. Okay, great. Yeah, so Marian, I think okay. Yeah, so we have Mr. John here. Oh, can you hear me, Mr. John? You are on mute right now, Mr. John. If you can unmute yourself.
Okay, my network went bad. So, and then somehow I guess I lost,
That's fine.
I
I can do a
lost some of the
recap.
information. But
Yeah.
but what I got from what Madam said, trust me, it's tough everywhere. But you can make some little improvements, adjustments that will keep you above the murky water. That's the kind of thing we're saying. Okay, and then, well, you said, Jose, they are by your side. That makes it heartwarming. So I'm saying that, for instance, you may not be able to change the taste, change the, what's it called, the size or whatever, but ensure that you keep your quality, ensure that whatever, I've been talking about USP, unique selling point. For every product, there is something that you want to be sure that product is known for. Okay, there are sets of attributes you want to be sure that that product is known for. And if you can keep such, they could become the basis for branding. Okay, if your water is so good, you know your unique selling product points, and you stick to them, it could become the basis, because now it means you are gradually differentiating on those factors. And then it could become, differentiation is the basis for branding. I can tell you that no matter what, we also are into sachet, water stuff in Nigeria. I can tell you that there is a company called Coast Carries. They built, pure water. They are big, but you can be sure Coast Carries will give you, what is really, really pure sachet water, all right, of high quality. So if you have a situation whereby your product is of a kind of quality that you also know the kind of customer you are appealing to, because segmentation will also come into it. We talk about segmentation, targeting, and positioning in marketing. You've got to be able to segment your customers as well. You've got to be able to target them properly and position your sachet water to them. And trust me, you always find your level amongst them. Some people will undercut price, right? They will undercut price. You will suffer in the short run, but if you are consistent, consistency for me is the name of the game. If you are consistent, at the end of the day, you win the battle. I am clear in my mind about that. I've seen it happen severally.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. John. We really appreciate your response to this. And also to Marian, we would also add to that your customers know what is happening in the market space. They see whatever is going on. They know things are difficult, as Mr. John said, but keeping your customers engaged is key. Keeping that relationship is very, very important. And as John also added, segmentation is key. So if you have a segment that patronizes your product, making sure that you are constantly engaging with them, keeping a tight relationship with them, and explaining why there has been a couple of changes to your product, keeping them in the loop really goes a long way to make sure that you have loyalty with your customers. And so let's put in more effort in there, keep your customers in the loop all the time, and definitely they will still continue to stick and stay with you. They see that there are challenges all around. Thank you, Mr. John. We've pretty much exhausted our question and answer session time. I know it's past 7:15 here in Ghana, which literally means it is 8:15 also in Nigeria, and people are getting hungry. But we would like to just talk a little bit about the Ozeapp. If you joined earlier, we encouraged everybody here to download the Ozeapp if you don't have it. And it's on the Play Store. If you don't have it, it's on the App Store if you are on iPhone. Please go ahead and download it. Because of time, we won't do any demo on the Ozeapp, but we will quickly run through and explain the benefits associated with using the Ozeapp as a business owner. Oze helps you to digitize your business transactions as a business owner by recording your sales and expenses. And so rather than doing it in a book, which can get missing or get lost or get destroyed, you enter your transactions. When you make a sale, you put it into the Ozeapp. When you make an expense, you put it also in the Ozeapp. And then you'll be able to see the health, the financial health of your business in real time. You will also be able to send receipts to your customers when you generate or when you enter a transaction in the Ozeapp. You'll be able to send an invoice to potential customers who are interested. That receipt comes with your company logo, it comes with your company details, and it makes you look very professional. You would also be able to see how your business is doing over a period of time, either daily, weekly, or monthly, so that you can be able to power up your skill as a business to grow. And so we'll encourage everybody here that if you don't have the Ozeapp, please go ahead, download it. It is free. If you also have the Ozeapp, we'll encourage you to continue using it to digitize your business transaction. For those that are also using the Ozeapp, I believe they can attest to it that they've also benefited from certain incentives, financial incentives. As you enter more transactions in the Ozeapp, you become eligible to apply for a loan. And so if you use the app for at least 30 days and you've entered at least 10 transactions in the app, you become eligible to apply for an Oze loan. And in this economy, you need a little bit of financial support, anything that you can get to inject into your business to be able to, stay above water and survive. Okay, and Christmas too is coming. You need more inventory. Okay, don't forget. So use the Ozeapp and get started. In light of that, once more, let's give a lot of emojis and thumbs up and claps for our guest speaker, Mr. John Olaoye, for taking his time to take us through all this information, all this knowledge about inflation. Let's give him a lot of thumbs up, guys. It is rich and it's a lot of research. It's a lot of interesting nuggets that he has shared. Definitely, the slides we would share to you when that is made available. Because of time, he couldn't extend, the explanations and explain the methods to be able to stay profitable. I was waiting for that. Unfortunately, time is not our friend today. In light of this, I would like to invite my colleague, Temi, also to quickly give us some closing remarks. Temi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Prince. Thank you much, Mr. John, for the session. We really appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone that attended the workshop this month. Thank you from Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, US. Thank you for joining us. I hope you took a thing or two out of it that will help support your business. And definitely, Oze is always there for you. You have a business coach if you use the Oze app, personalized for you to help you with your business issues, for example, the inflations we are facing now. So as I go to bed, I hope we have things that we'll think about preparation for tomorrow as another business day. Thank you again, Prince, for anchoring. You've been an amazing MC. Thank you, Mr. John. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night.